Greetings, everyone. Welcome once again to Oberon's Outlook on the Emotional Exchanges. The Emotional Exchanges is my weekly tarot forecast using the elemental associations of the Zodiac to give each, the air signs, fire signs, water signs, and earth signs, a reading that's generally for the week ahead and concerning the emotional parts of your lives, the currents or undercurrents, situations that you may be involving with your loved ones or other close relationships. So this reading is for the week ahead, and that's October 2nd, today, Friday, till next Thursday, and that's the 8th of October. All right, so usually we start off with a little inspirational reading or an attempt at that, and we have the Isis Tarot for that. It's not really a tarot, as I've often said, it's more of an oracle deck. I'm just going to go ahead and shuffle those cards and draw one at random. Oh, I hope it's a good card. It is the Wild Geese. Pretty. So the Wild Geese is number 33. Let's take a peek at that. So perhaps we are attaching too much importance to friendships and socialness that's going to be going on in our lives. So perhaps people will feel they're getting many invitations in this week ahead, people planning for fall events, Halloween or otherwise. Various festive occasions seem to be the theme here, and social gatherings, but yet still domestic bliss, the pleasure of being at home. So for what it's worth, that's our inspirational reading for the week. So keep that in mind, everyone, if you can. So we're going to go right on now to the readings. And as mentioned before, we do the elemental considerations. So our first reading is for air signs. Air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. They tend to be the more thoughtful, logical ones of the Zodiac. And so for their reading, we start with the word of the week. And their word of the week is solitude. So solitude may be that despite what the wild geese say, maybe you're going to be one of those ones who are more about the domestic bliss. I don't know about the rest of the world or the country, but here where I broadcast from, it's a windy, cooler day. And as you can see, Mr. O has brought out his nice, warm green sweater in honor of fall. So maybe, air signs will feel that call too, to be a little bit more into the solitary moment. So let's get to the rest of that reading. Hardly have any table space to work with here. So our first question or position is, what emotional happiness will you find this week? And we have the Ace of Swords upright. So I think the emotional happiness is in the doing of things, especially some new big kind of project that seems to be on the horizon. So I'm thinking this is what we will find this week, air signs. You are in your element. That's an air sign card. You are tackling things that maybe really feel important, but also you have a strong feeling of your own success. You're driven by succeeding in this week ahead, and this is bound to bring you a lot of happiness because you are finally getting around to moving ahead on some plans perhaps, or maybe you've just been given a green light for the plans you do have. So I find that quite interesting. So now, what emotional challenges or surprises will you face in this week? And we have the Prince of Wands. And the Prince of Wands would kind of be kind of like your Knight of Wands. This Egyptian deck, the ancient Egyptian deck, takes princesses and makes them from the page, and princes are from the knights. So this Knight of Wands, it seems to me like maybe there's some attitudes here where you're looking at where you want to go in opening up more for certain relationships. It may be that whether it's a friendship or just a relationship that's motivating you, you're trying to put your best foot out there, being really thoughtful and engaging in trust, and trying to solidify connections and trying to feel engaged with that energy. It's a little bit collective energy. It's kind of like networking really strongly in your field. So maybe what is challenging or surprising is that maybe this comes to you not exactly where most of the heart of your emotional relationships lie. Maybe this is a new thing because of a situation where you work or of a situation that you are somehow engaging in. So I think that will be surprising, but I think that because you're aided, of course, by that Ace of Swords, your heart's desire of furthering yourself, I think it's all good. So maybe there's a connection between that in implementing these plans or these goals you've had and that you're finally working on or you're finding the strength to, somehow this is bringing you into contact with a situation where you can really sell yourself, put yourself out there to that idea of creating trust and friendship and strong positive networking. So finally, what will concern your romantic, family, platonic, co-worker relationships most during this time of the next week? And we have the Wheel of Fortune reversed. So that's not necessarily a good thing, but it could just be saying that those people around you that you have your strongest relationships with, they may be moving through a cycle that is not especially good for them at this point. There may be minor setbacks, and so maybe some of that visionary and strong goals you have there, that ability to pleasing yourself by moving ahead with your projects, you might have to find a way to share some of that with these people, because I'm thinking that progress slows for others. It isn't maybe for you, but maybe what your challenge or what will concern your relationships is how to find people find their footing. Maybe it's not so much that they're in a bad cycle. Maybe it really is about finding their footing and just helping them move to a better place. So that's what I have for you guys, the air signs. And now we will move on to the fire signs. Fire signs, you are Aries, you are Leo, and you are Sagittarius. You are direct, sometimes confrontational, but almost always brilliant. And your word of the week, this is kind of interesting because we had it last week, and I don't remember if it was for the fire signs or who it was for, but veneration. That would be kind of interesting. You had that 2 weeks in a row, so it would say you're still, thinking about what it is you want to proclaim as sacred in your life. Or it's this week if it was somebody else, but you're finding ways to really focus and exalt glory in your life. Maybe it's your feeling for religion or spirit or for esoterics and the occult arts that you may practice. I mean, you're finding ways to really sync with your spirit and give praise to the divine in your life, however you choose to see that. So that's a nice card. I like that for you guys. So let's go on and do the reading. And while I'm at it, I'll mention once again, as I like to do, that my partner in crime, the Banshee, the yang to my yin or something like that, does her show on Sunday mornings at 10 o'clock. And her show is more about the material matters in your life. It's about how you can find the keys to success in education, finance, all those kind of things. The material matters. 10 o'clock on our YouTube channel with the Banshee. Alrighty. Cutting the deck. First position. What emotional happiness will you, fire signs, find this week? Fire signs, you're going to kind of flip a little. You're going to let it go big time. You're going to just sort of say, I want to just be crazy. Queen of Cups reversed is saying you're going to kind of blow off some steam here maybe by just running away with your imagination. You know, my goodness, if the circus came into your town, you might be saying like, hey, I want to do that. I'm going to run away with the circus. It's better than the circus I'm here with. Anyway, whatever your circus is, you are really looking to find happiness with being just indulgent in parts of your emotional life for sure, but also the things that are about dreams and visions and creativity in a way too. Maybe not as much. So I'm thinking that's where you're going with that this week. You want to just sort of get a little bit crazy, fire signs. So what emotional challenges or surprises will you face this week? And here we have Temperance reversed. And so I wonder if there's a connection there, because Temperance reversed seems to tell me that you are challenged by this attitude, or it surprises you. I mean, maybe some of you fire signs just don't always do that, just really like shift, you know. But this is talking about shifting going on here. You know, the Queen of Cups upright is a rather different personality than the Queen of Cups reversed. There's some very similar elements, but it's different. But this one even more so. This kind of personality or energy sort of says, I'm throwing a lot of things to the wind. I just want to embrace something less structured, less driven from a certain narrative, but maybe more inclusive of a number of narratives, or none at all. I don't know. It's the key word in this sense would kind of be immoderation rather than moderation. So maybe it is surprising, but also challenging to see that in yourself and to maybe say, I'm good with it this time. For this time period this week, I'm okay with really just kind of letting go. Finally, what will concern your various relationships this week? What will concern platonic friends or family friends, family relationships, your emotional partner? And, oh, what a doozy. We have the Princess of Cups, which of course would be like the Page of Cups, as I've mentioned earlier, with princesses and pages. And the Princess of Cups, well, it could just be saying this is really like a mood with people around you right now. Maybe your mood is going to kind of be a part of what their mood is, or maybe it's influencing them to make their mood more like yours. But what I'm feeling here is that some of this is just kind of like getting out of touch with certain parts of that emotional life, and that maybe you're just, this is the people around you that maybe they're just sort of letting it go too, but maybe not quite the same way you are. Maybe when they're letting it go, they're also getting a little bit more bitter, a little less able to view it as a lark. The chips maybe are more serious for them. Maybe there's just a little bit more gravity to what they're going to do there. I see you, kitty. Don't you do that. He wants to pull down the display here. Come here, kitty. Come here. Yes, come here. Yes. So that's very interesting, though. But I think that maybe what you will find is that people that are in your emotional life strongly, they're going to need some support from you too. And maybe that explains where you have to kind of be changing a way how you do business in a way, because maybe you have to be a little bit more flexible with them too. All these cards are water related in a way. So it is talking about flexibility and formlessness in a way. And I'm wondering if just the energies of this week for fire signs are telling you to create form where you can and to help others. The people around you are looking for something within themselves that they're not seeing. Some of that is an intuitiveness that they normally would feel they have, or just at least the capability of understanding themselves. And I think that's what's going to concern them. So putting it all together, it just sort of feels like this is a crazy week for you guys. Come here, baby. Come here. You want to say hi to everybody? She just won't try and jump up on me. She gets almost up there in the chair. Come on, you. At any rate, that's what I have for the fire signs. So we're going to move on. Well, Shadow, the shyest cat in our TFT household, does whatever. Moving on to the water signs. And water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. There you are. There you are. Come here. We can see you over there. And your word of the week, speculation. Water signs, thinking about speculation. What do you think that could mean? I think for you, water signs, maybe you have to be thinking about what you're seeing going on around you right now. All these swirling elements in other people's personalities. We haven't gotten to the earth signs yet, so they're probably the ones we can rely upon to be less changeable this time, like every other sign seems to be so far. So maybe you're going to be drawn more to consider where you can find advantage there, speculating on that, or maybe where you can just find understanding. So it could be that too. So that's the word of the week. Try to understand things. Try to figure out where your standing is. And we're going to move on now to the reading. Hello there. Come on. Come here. I want you to jump on my lap. But alas, she won't. I don't know what she's into down there. She found a little piece of fuzz she's trying to eat or something. I hate when she does that. I brush them all the time. That one especially. Don't forget to watch our live streams, which are listed there on the screen. Free readings. And some really lively chat with a lot of our fellow readers and a lot of other good folks who come and support us. We appreciate that. And I'm almost ready here. Hello, baby. Are you coming up? What emotional happiness will you find this week? Water signs. Oh dear. I see you there. Hello. 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 The Five of Cups upright. Well, that's interesting. I think water signs are going to be feeling losses, and yet they will understand what is left behind, what they still have remaining. A lot of times the card talks about not being able to see that, but because we're talking about where you find the happiness in this card, what this means in as a position in this reading, I think it really is about accepting what you have to accept. And it may not be totally happy, but you know that there is enough there for you to keep going. So water signs, you oftentimes do have to deal with emotional situations. You're feeling depressed, you're feeling happy, and everything in between or even beyond that. But this time I think this is saying you understand what's at stake, and you're feeling like you can get comfortable with it. It's not like you love it to death, but you know you can live with this. Living with less. Especially perhaps from that emotional center, of course. So what challenges emotionally or surprises will you find? And I have the Judgment card. And it's kind of clear to me that what will surprise you or challenge you is that maybe this thing going on leads you to really look deeply into yourself as a spiritual person and really start to figure out what you can need to do to challenge yourself, to align yourself with the best spiritual ideals. We may not all believe the same thing about, what's good and just in our world, or what really are the values that we're looking for. But for yourself, you will be looking at that water signs, and you will be finding that. It is a challenge, but the surprise is also, that you will be able to do this. So I think you are moving towards that this week. And then what will concern your other emotional relationships, your friends, your lovers, your partners, your children, the best friends of your life? What will concern them? And with this Ace of Discs reversed, I think that it is possible that what concerns them is a lack of a normal world, a lack of a world where things seem to have their function and regulation. Sometimes this particular ace, because it's round, it is sort of like another version of the wheel to me. It's a coin, you flip a coin and you could say there's a good side, there's a bad side, or this means yes, this means no, things like that. And what I'm thinking here is that for those other better relationships in your life, there is a sense, a concern that the routine of normalcy is a little bit halted for them, and that maybe certain things that give them solidification, a good job, or knowing that they're working ahead with their plans, whether it's school or whether it's raising children or whether it's watching and helping children in school themselves. All of those things feel a little bit under attack, maybe not so much, but somehow just not as enabled and not fulfilling the greater essence of what they could be doing. There's not an expression that really is coming forth that's pleasing to them. It may be that these plans need to be worked over, or it may be that there are other forces within society or whatever that are kind of putting little roadblocks or limitations there. A lot of times too, we could just say that maybe the limitations come from within ourselves to some degree, and that we need to open our minds and or change our attitudes about some of this, and to figure out what we can do. Speculate on what you can do to change things. So that's what I have for the fire signs, or the water signs. I'm sorry, water signs. Getting ahead of myself or behind myself. So finally, we're going to move on to our final, the earth signs. Earth signs are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And their word of the week is vehemence. Kind of looks a little bit different there. But note underneath there's that hawk there. Horus, in Egyptian mythology, kind of like the son of Osiris, took the form of a hawk, and I think there's implications there about protectiveness and strength and power and emulating that. And maybe vehemence in this context means a more rightful enacting of, I don't want to say revenge, but it kind of looks a little bit like that, but a rightful enacting of a power struggle that maybe sometimes there comes a time where people need to do what they need to do, and maybe they act vehemently. Oh wow, I'm not going to dwell on that. I'm going to move on quickly. I don't ever want to urge anybody to violence, but I don't necessarily think vehemence means violence. It could be the attitude there. So anybody wants to leave me a comment about that, they're welcome. I might engage further. But we're going to go on with the rest of the reading. Whoops. Oh, I hate having to bend over in front of the camera to pick up the card that fell. But I did. So. And this ought to take care of that. What emotional happiness will you find this week? Oh, I think that Earth signs hit the jackpot. They have the Lovers. So this jackpot is mostly a sense of understanding where you wanted to decide to put value in your life, where you decided emphasis needed to go, and it's things that correspond to your higher ideals about love, but maybe everything that also goes along with love too, just a love of humanity or a love of others, or finding a way to solve problems with compassion, or understanding things more from a true moral. You know, we can talk about morals, but sometimes it's one of those things where they say, you know what it is when you see it, even if you can't necessarily define it. So this looks good, a good way to start. Now, what emotional challenges or surprises will you face this week? And you hit the jackpot again, you get strength. So earth signs are definitely doing really good here for this week. I guess it's just really surprising and perhaps challenging that whatever it is you're trying to really formulate and apply energies to, you find the way to really make everyone feel right, to bring it on in the right way, to make everyone feel that they are a part of that. There's a compassion represented in strength too, saying that there's nobility and there's reward in effort. You don't have to push yourself around. You don't have to be a bully. You don't have to say my way or the highway. This, maybe you finally reach this after not really having it for a while. Maybe earth signs really finally moved into that jackpot era, like having not really had a lot of that in their lives before. Maybe things that represented that level of assuredness. Excuse me. So let's close this out then and say our position 3. What concerns all your relationships, you know, your romantic and friends and co-workers and platonic otherwise? It's the 2 of Cups. Okay, so we knew that maybe everything was not going to be all brightness because it is the 2 of Cups reversed. And so it could be saying that, I think what it's saying is what challenges you this week is how you will have to be helping these people that are peripheral to you, who maybe are looking at their relationships rather differently from you. Maybe what you're doing by pulling in the energies of the Lovers and strength is you are having to work with a lot of emotional turbulence that's going on around you. I mean, maybe that's what the vehemence was about. Maybe there's just so much challenge in your life, and that maybe you have to really arise to a higher ideal of strength and compassion, and to make sure you are choosing the right expressions of emotionality, because people around you are having problems in harmonizing correctly or well to their relationships, or to their relationships to maybe some abstracts. I think earth signs are going to have their work cut out for them a little bit this week. It suddenly seems like the reading is a little bit different to me, and it puts into context the vehemence card. But I'm wondering really, too, to sum it up, if earth signs will be at their best this week, because they really will be working hard to help others who have emotional problems, most likely in relationships and friendships. So that's what we had. And I think, well, I don't know what to say. It looked kind of interesting. Please watch our other content on our YouTube channel. Please watch our live streams and also our other programs. Please like us, subscribe, share, make comments. Don't forget to watch Banshee's show in about 2 days on Sunday. Everyone. And I'd like to leave a final little moment to get you going for the weekend, perhaps. The idea sometimes that when this is the mirror of Hathor from Egyptian mythology, and the idea here would be that sometimes those who seek or will to do harm, they really only invoke their own reflection. The will to do harm invokes its own reflection. So I want to leave everybody with that. I really appreciate you watching. I hope you come back again sometime.